Last episode, we talked about balance, which reminded me that we should also talk about restart. Not restart like making a new account and attempt to pull a Sphere Karibo with your first repull, but restart the skill. This was yet another harmless consistency skill that we've had since the beginning of the game, that got progressively more broken as decks became less big dragon and pass, and more one card full combo. The first iteration of this skill was pretty simple. Upon drawing your first hand, if you decide that maybe you don't like the cards you see, you can simply reveal your hand to your opponent, point to something off in the distance, and while they're distracted, simply shuffle your cards back into the deck and draw them again. Or as it's called in golf, or any other TCG, a mulligan. And while the skill did have a small downside of revealing your strategy to your opponent, having more chances to open big and small monsters, fusion materials, or even ritual cards was often worth the trade-off. Now, if that was all it was doing, I wouldn't be making this video, so let's talk about how this all started going downhill.
What we do here is go back.
Let's begin our journey where all journeys of the 2016 video game Duel Links begin. 2018. Yup, DLM only goes back so far, and I took a break before that, so if you have any other fun facts to add, you know where to put them. Down there. Similarly to balance, restart up until this point was just a good skill to use in most decks, since the skill was basically just one extra chance to not brick. So if a deck was good, or even playable, you could play restart. We can see Cyber Angels playing it, Boojins playing it, Fire King Nephethes playing it, everybody's playing it! And everybody kept playing it until the middle of 2018, when we were in what I like to call the I really want to open this card meta. This was a time in our history where players were basically just trying to open 1 or 2 cards in their deck that would just allow them to almost instantly win the game. We had decks like Boojin trying to open grass, Spellbooks trying to open grass, Dragons trying to open grass. Okay, I feel like I'm noticing a pattern here, but grass isn't the only thing they were trying to open, because OTK decks like Destiny Hero, or as I like to call it, Anki Turbo, were trying to open things like Mass Change or Hatronade. Speaking of, you new players might not know about this card, but I'm sure you older players are very familiar with it. If you ever want to start a fight, just say you do or don't want Hatronade back, and then brace yourself. Anyway, this deck building style of attempting to sack your opponent was made even more viable by the restart skill. So in 2018, restart was given its first hit. Now the skill skips your first draw. This actually didn't fix the problem with things like grass, since filling your grave usually took away your need to draw cards. But Konami didn't need to hit the skill again since they had some other limits they planned to put in over the next year. And so, Restart lived, happily ever after. Until... Karakuris are these feudal-era Japanese robots, who look like they were built by a carpenter who must have really liked puns. And in true Konami Duel Links style, their core package is split across 2 years of boxes.
Just what I needed!
And that's actually pretty compact given some of the other archetypes in this game. The Karakuri playstyle is pretty simple. Most of the monsters have effects that are based around having their battle position changed. Some of them change when attacked, some of them change as part of their effects, and some of them have effects go off when they're changed. The main kit consists of the Merchant Inashichi, the most versatile card of the deck, which searches any Karakuri card on normal summon. We have Ninishi, the delicate little flower.
She's a very delicate little flower.
Who gives you an extra Karakuri normal summon per turn, and Karakuri Bonds, Kunamzen, who summons himself from hand. The deck also has a bunch of extenders as well. Both synchros let you summon a Karakuri from the deck, and Karakuri Cash, and Karakuri Cash, which can be searched by Merchant, lets you search a Karakuri from the deck. All these deck summons and monster searches really let Karakuri showcase just how big of a monster toolbox they can pull out of the deck. The main ones used are Sazank for non-destruction monster removal, Hypa to stall out your opponent, and Saizon for a full board stat boost. Finally, we have Karakuri Cash In, which is a monster negate that can also be searched with Merchant. So, with a bunch of add to hand effects and multiple extenders, the only thing this deck really needed to do to start comboing like a madman was open Merchant. And guess what skill does that? Math break. Okay, it's time for a quick lesson in probability. Using a quick hand calculator, we can find that the probability of opening at least one of your 3 merchants in a 20-card deck is 50.88%. So what are the chances if you try twice? Okay, it's been a bit since I took probability, so hopefully I don't mess this up, but I'm pretty sure you calculate using the negative. The probability of not opening at least one merchant is 100% minus 50.88%, which is 49.12%. Then the chances of not opening merchant twice in a row is 49.12% multiplied by itself, which is about 24.13%, which means that the probability of opening at least one Karakuri merchant in 2 tries is the probability of not opening one in 2 hands, which gives us 100% minus 24.13%, which is about 75.8%. So this version of Restart gave you a 75% chance to open merchant, which people found is ridiculously consistent. Okay, that's enough math, back to the video. So how much did this help Karakuris? Well, for a good couple of weeks, this deck hit tier 1. Being able to full combo into multiple synchros and negate turn 1, or extend through disruption turn 2, really showed why opening merchant and being able to increase that chance with Restart was so important. It was so good, in fact, that Restart had to receive its second hit in October 2020, now forcing players to also run at least 7 spells and 7 traps in their deck. What is this, balance? And on top of that, Konami also hit the delicate little flower, Ninishi, to 2. Surely that'll help kill the deck, right? Nope. Being able to open merchant was so good that Karakuris still ran the same skill and just threw in a bunch of spells and traps and 2 Ninishis. And even with this altered version, they still managed to easily top 100 the KC Cup. Finally, Konami realized the only way to kill this deck was to put Karakuri Merchant to 1, where Konami was so scared of it that it lived there for 3 years. So by this point, some of you may have noticed that this skill is still usable. Well, we can't have that. So in March 2021, Konami decided that the future was now, old man, and decided to cripple almost every good generic skill we had. Restart had all its previous nerfs removed, and then similarly to Balance, now locked you out of special summoning and monster effects on your first main phase. And just like that, we straight up haven't had another Restart deck in basically 3 years. Will there ever be another Restart deck? Probably not. I don't think Konami plans to revert those nerfs anytime soon, and even some of the heaviest spell and trap archetypes in this game do still rely on some amount of monster effects and special summoning on their first turn. And most of them can't justify trading all that off just to open a single card. But even if we never see this skill again, at the very least, we finally got to see what happens if Yugioh had a mulligan, so we don't have to ask that anymore. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any other suggestions, please leave them in the comments below.